The Association of Securities Exchanges of Nigeria was launched on Wednesday with the 5 registered domestic exchanges in the country coming together for the first time in the history of the capital market. Endorsed by regulators, market veterans and operators, the purpose of the union is explained with focus on conflict resolution, economic development and information sharing.
I think the first thing I'd like to say is that the DMO decided to be here in person, the institution to be represented, because we believe in markets. Okay, so one of the things the federal government has done or did when it set up the debt management office was to subject itself to the discipline of the market. So if you check our borrowings in the domestic market, we issue them by way of securities. The prices are market determined and they are traded, and we're happy that the market has advanced to the level where it is. And then in the international markets, we've moved from, in addition rather to borrowing from the multilateral and bilateral sources, we've also subjected ourselves to the international capital markets. So just to say that the DMO is a strong supporter of markets, and we're happy to see that the market has come up to this stage, not only in terms of the number of institutions. I think when we started, really, we had the stock exchange, but now we can count a lot more institutions, which means there's a lot more activity. We've talked about the size of the market, a lot more people involved and actively engaged in the market. So we see that as a positive, and I'd like to commend the CEOs and the institutions, indeed, who have come together to form this association. The way I see it is it's still one big financial market with several segments where each of them are operating, and each one is important in terms of where the government wants to take the economy to. So I can say from this side, the DMO remains a keen supporter of markets, and will continue to do what it is that we need to do. But I will not be doing justice to my employers if I do not say that we expect the markets to support economic growth. So it shouldn't just be a market where we are buying and selling, but to support economic growth. That's essentially the focus of the government. We need to support the private sector to promote the growth of the economy. So if you have looked at some of our activities, you can see that in the past 7 months or thereabout, our level of activity in the domestic market has reduced in terms of new issues. The purpose essentially is to make sure there's business room for all the other segments of the market. So this is an extremely brilliant initiative, and we hope that it will be extended, its activities will be extended in such a manner that supports economic development as well as growth.
The Nigerian Stock Exchange is delighted to be part of this association, and it is with great enthusiasm that I address you today in anticipation of the far-reaching positive effects the creation of this association will have on the advancement of the Nigerian capital market to achieve greater global competitiveness. The association provides a forum for its members to unite and form a central voice to advocate for government policies that will help deepen the capital market whilst guarding the interest of its member exchanges. It also offers an opportunity for collective capacity building and trainings within the Nigerian capital market. Nigeria is at a critical juncture of its economic development, with rising government deficits while being faced with the pressing need to invest in various sectors of the economy. In addition to providing a platform for discussions on how best to derive value from a cohesive approach to operating and regulating the Nigerian capital market, I strongly believe that ASEN offers an opportunity through constructive dialogue and exchange of information to further unlock the value within our capital markets to act as a long-term source of funds for the critical and social infrastructure required for national productivity and prosperity. In my view, the ASEN Forum should also serve as a veritable platform where conflicts between member exchanges can be discussed and amicably resolved without the need to externalize discords. In this connection, I charge the leadership of ASEN, and I believe the leadership comprised of the trustees, to develop robust conflict resolution frameworks in anticipation of such eventualities. Permit me, in closing, to offer my sincere congratulations to the CEOs and the chairman of the boards of the exchanges under ASEN, and all who have played one role or the other in making the launch of the association a reality. In the words of Henry Ford, coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. I sincerely look forward to the success of this association, and I believe this day will be remembered as a great moment in the history of the Nigerian capital market.
Gratify my mind in the final days of my interaction with this market than final days. It is poetic, it may be the next 20 years. And you know, Boston made a reference to the uniqueness of seeing many exchanges sitting together. And I think for those who know the history of the evolution of exchanges in Nigeria, this is a big milestone. To have exchanges coming together to work for the market. It used to be seen as anathema. And I'm happy that I'm alive to see the day when the Nigerian Stock Exchange will look at other exchanges as colleagues, brothers, to work together to lift the economy. And believe me, I have spent most of my own working life in markets, selling stocks, shares, government stocks, commercial paper, bankers' acceptances, NCDs. So, to me, I see the market as a continuum. And I also was on the panel that evaluated the first software for the Abuja Stock Exchange, which is now the Nigerian Commodities Exchange. So I've had interaction with nearly everybody, all the associations, all the institutions that created most of the exchanges, maybe with the exception of AFEX. Because even Money Market Association that created FMDQ came out of treasurers' meeting of Chase, ICON, Societe Generale, and IMB, Dapo Desoya, Mrs. Brume, Reverend Oyewole. I mean, we used to have lunch, you know, and that was what created when my own younger colleagues took over. Chike Obi, Mrs. Oshibodu, then formed, you know, formally the Money Market Association. So to me, today is a gratifying day. I wish you well. I will say that, you know, you should work towards the development of this market, together lifting up this economy, together promoting savings, because there are two sides of the coin. You can't have investment without savings. Oftentimes, we look at the market, we don't look at the funds that will flow into it. I look forward to the development of the domestic market to at least stabilize these markets because we cannot live only on foreign savings. We must build and strengthen the domestic savings leg of the market. And I do hope that this association will be committed to that. You have a strong voice. Coming together should enable you to speak with a louder voice and to make sure that the economy is put in its right footing. And I do know that given the capability of all of you, if you are not competing to destroy each other and you're working together, I'm sure you can lift this market up.
Some of the purposes for which we have set up this association, we're beginning to hear some of the results already. Part of what we have as our objectives are to be able to form a single cohesive group that will assist in moving the capital market forward. Indeed, we had some plans and some thoughts, and very quickly, as we started coming together and having our meetings, we started realizing that we were probably thinking along the same path, which is probably why my brother Bola Onodele said I should come and represent him, because we're thinking the same thing. Thank you very much, Coco, as well. Okay, so the association currently is made up of 5 members. You've seen our logos. You've got FMDQ, you've got the NCX, Nigerian Commodities Exchange, you've got the Nigerian Stock Exchange, you've got AFEX, and then you have the NASD. These are the initial members. It is not an exclusive group. It is as big as the Nigerian economy, as big as the number of players in the capital market who are running the exchange business. We have some set objectives and goals. First of all, we are the hub of economic development. We are the source by which, we are the barometer by which the progress of the economy is going to be measured. Indeed, it just makes sense for us to be speaking the same language rather than for us to be having different indexes all over the place. So one of the objectives we actually want to do, we want to achieve, is to be able to present information on the Nigerian capital market as a whole. Investors who are looking at Nigeria probably, most likely, do not look at one market and then another. They look at the Nigerian economy as one place where they are possibly going to invest. Therefore, if they go to a website like ASEN, they would see information on all the markets. That's the first thing. The second thing is capacity building and knowledge sharing. The CEO of the Nigerian Stock Exchange referred to ASEA and World Federation of Exchanges. In ASEA, for example, they have a program, and it's a set program well established for all capital, for all securities exchanges in Africa, called Building African Financial Markets. Indeed, I believe that one of the things that we'll be having as a goal would be to have a similar program where we're enhancing the amount of knowledge in the capital market, where we are sharing information across all platforms that would move our market forward and make it more attractive. Another thing that we want to achieve is to be able to achieve better efficiencies due to economies of scale. And the DG of the Securities Exchange Commission alluded to that by sharing infrastructure, sharing platforms together, sharing knowledge. Again, the more efficient your market is, the more attractive it is to investors, the easier it is for issuers to raise capital as well. Therefore, it actually enhances the value of our market and the importance of our market worldwide. A few years ago, we had the capital market master plan, and in that, some of the things we were talking about was building a market that is easier to enter and to exit from, a more liquid market. And this, again, is in line with one of the objectives that was set in that master plan. So